up to date. Recent flurry of Otherside activity with Otherspace FM host Nana. Super excited to have him on the show. He's like my source of where I go for Otherside news and Otherspace.fm. He hosts with Baron Von Hustle. And today we're gonna be talking about Other Deeds strategies, celestial seasons, and the Gucci codependent. And so to help us with that, we have our chief codependent officer, Max Payne. Max, are you there?
Jawohl, but nein. Look, I am not codependent. You are codependent.
No. I think you're reporting on the codependent.
Just because I spend every waking minute of my day searching the pain in Web 3, it does not mean I am codependent on others.
Your accent got really weird there, but it's just it kind of does though. Really, if you think about it, like if you're a sadomasochist, you kind of need somebody to, whip with your cat of nine tails, and until they howl, I guess. But you also, as a sadomasochist, enjoy the reverse of that.
Okay. Well, this is true. I like the howls, and it is clear to me now. You are doing a clever play on words.
Yeah, that's the kind of the notion is codependent will replace the term fidgetal, because it makes people's skin crawl when you say fidgetal. So yeah, stop now. This I have all this extra skin from my mutation. My belly button just crawled up right down to my ankles, and you don't want the codependent feel this. No, that's kind of exactly it. Like, it's kind of like a quirk, right? It's like what happens is something in the metaverse has a reaction IRL or vice versa, kind of like your sadomasochism, really. So you have this relationship between the physical and the metaverse item. And so the items, moving forward could be termed, this idea codependent on the physical. And so for more about, the codependent play on the other side, let's go to our chat with Otherspace co-host Nana and get a bit more in depth on strategies and ways that, builders, artists, entrepreneurs, welcome to the show. Click like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Notifications let you know. I know it's Twitter, especially, we got a lot of you here on Twitter. And, if you hit the bell notification, that's kind of the only way at this moment. Notifications is the way to let you know when we have videos. So until they work that stuff out, we appreciate you being here. Enjoy. Welcome, Web3 Media friends. I'm so super excited today to bring on friend and I'm a fan of Nana. He's the co-host of my go-to source of all things Otherside, Otherspace.fm, which shows Thursdays on Twitter Spaces, 11 a.m. PST. And pretty much anytime anything's going down with the other side, Nana is there.
Yeah, we're pretty quick to pop open this space and just learn about it with each other, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't be able to do this without my ride or die brother from the, brother on the blockchain. Literally, I'm 2338, he's 2339 in terms of our
Are you guys really?
Baron Von Hustle, yeah.
I had no idea you guys were like blockchain brothers too. That's crazy.
Yeah. He gifted me my ape, dude.
What?
Right after mint, it sold out, and I was like, I saw him.
At what point did he want it back? Was he like, was it like 50 ETH where he was just like, well,
nah, you know what?
Borrow. I was lending you that.
Honestly, I never ever got that sense. There's probably 2 apes that he did want back.
Yeah.
Out of the 4 that he did, because he traded it for some things that I'll let him share that story.
That's amazing.
And that's why I was just like, yo, don't like take that off. Like, let me buy that from you. Because I see a lot of potential in these too. And he's like, dude, I got you. I got 4 of them. So I was like, oh shit. All right, let's go.
And look at how it's paid off in a sense, because you were gifted these other deeds, and you've been along for a ride of just like a consistent asset sort. It's just been raining on apes on, I feel like, and that's why I joined recently. It was just like I could see sort of the value being invested, whether it was ape coin, and then like now it's other deeds, and we're moving into an activation of other deeds in a big way. After like 9-month lull from first trip to second trip, suddenly it's just like, okay, it's go time. Here comes Jimmy the Monkey. Here comes Dookie Dash. Here comes Second Trip. Here comes Legends of Mara. We got some vessels for you.
Melting. Just my mind's melting. And it felt like that, like even like in late 2000, early 2021, my mind was melting in the same way too. And I think that was the main thing, just being able to ride this journey and share it with people in the space, including like my brother Baron von Hustle. It's like this is an experience in itself. So just being able to connect with others. He was always so quick to pop open a space, discuss art and anything BAYC related. One of the ways he likes to learn, because a lot of apes don't read, we just open up a space. And ever since the first trip that happened in July, Baron opened up a space during that trip. And we decided, you know what, we always want to talk about this stuff anyway. Let's just do it consistently. Let's do it every single week. And it's been every week since the first trip. It's just been fun.
Downloads, because we want that. We want, we need to catch up with things. We want to, download things. And there's been so much happening. And that's why I appreciate your time with us today, is because there's been so much happening. I even want to go with you into that macro view, right? Just like, taking a step back and looking at sort of what it is that, we've been jiving with, what it is that we've been seeing with these elements coming together, and what it means to the community, because this is what I think it's about. It's about the community. And I'm loving the aspects of when we're talking about Second Trip, we're not talking about like, oh, the graphics and like, oh, I was a bit blurry and was it 30 frames per second? No, we're not talking about that. I'm talking about the time I saw Nana as I'm running, the time that you saw a baby. It was just like, that's what we're talking. That's what we're laughing about and smiling about when we're talking about that, because it's the community and us hanging out together.
Yeah, there's some really cool things that are happening, with all of these different projects. And just to be able to experience that right now is something really special, because I think we'll look back on it and see how scrappy it was, be able to see like, yo, I can't believe we were geeked out just being able to see you in the other side, and see the PFP pop up ahead, like above your name and whatnot. It's like a lot of this stuff is going to change. And next year it's not going to be the same. So have fun with it right now, because it's all evolving, as we've seen in this space, as you continue, many continue to stay involved, and a lot of people don't, it's not for them.
That's why they come to your show, and they come to like shows like this. They're just like, oh, like I hear something about it, and there's something speculative. And I think that's the main interest in a lot of these projects, is like, oh, okay, something's going to happen. If I get the alpha, I'll be able to trade into this appropriately. That, there's more here, and that's why sort of I love your passion for this project in this space, is because you see beyond it. You see the leveraging of your IP that's sitting on your lap and wiggling its ears. I just noticed right now. That's amazing. Because you're not wiggling your ears, but it's sensing you're happy, so it's wiggling its ears.
Yeah. And, shout out Hologram. They definitely hooked my ape up, and it's been really fun to have on my lap while I stream and go on meetings.
And so, but leveraging, this persona and this avatar into, ostensibly into the other side. And I think that, right now we're doing, these mechs, and there's like this whole, staging of utilizing the mechs, because honestly, it's going to be too hard to rig every single, even just ape, everybody's PFP out. This is the solution for now. As we said, it might change in a year. Pretty soon we might see, your cheetah ape, in a year and a half time, it's fully fledged, sort of thing running around.
Oh, you bet. Maybe right? In some video games, who knows?
Absolutely. I can see that thing, busting somebody up in Grand Theft Auto. It's like, it's going to happen, and it's coming, and it's here. And I think that the way that Yuga is leading it, And obviously we're both super fans of 10KTF. The way that literally 10KTF is landing on the other side is
literally.
We see the obelisk is going to land on it, and having these communities land on it, I think are going to be the beneficial part for the game, but for our experience as a community, because that idea that Gordon Gunner said that he wanted Wagmi-san and 10KTF and New Tokyo to be that first thing that you see is like, well, yeah, I want to spawn if I'm in in Oni, I want to spawn in Oni village, and I want to see all my other friends running around. I keep mentioning Bob, like but just like these people that I know in this space that are in my community. I want to see them. I want to jive with them, and I want to
yeah,
say crazy things, and then I want to go craft, and then and then do my thing that I'm going to do
yeah.
while I'm in this space. And so opening up this social aspect to it is, I think, been the key. And I think that you were sort of excited when Jimmy, the trial of Jimmy the Monkey came, because it said, and it noted to you, it said, hey, this is something for you.
Yeah, I mean, for the trial of Jimmy, I was just stoked that it was like BAYC focus. I'm like, oh shit. We're about to get down with some BAYC, MAYC stuff, you know what I mean? And it's been a while because a lot of the focus and attention has been on, other things. Otherside, we saw, a lot of different, they acquired CryptoPunks and Meebits, and there's a lot of different things that were beginning to develop. The acquisition of 10KTF, and you kind of see it's like, okay, now you have the trial of Jimmy the Monkey, and this kind of kicked off with like this really like out there video that really showcased the humor and the lightheartedness of the Bored Ape Yacht Club when it came to the brand, and it was shocking, but that's kind of how it is, right? Like it's like, yo, you probably wouldn't have expected this. Fuck doing expected things. But yeah, like, and what it's turning into from you know going through the sewers to try and get this golden key from Jimmy's butthole, uh, all the way to like all of this is a narrative for some really interesting mechanics and things that are being innovated upon, like as we speak. Like we get to participate in an interactive skill-based mint. It's like how many other people have the opportunity to be able to go through that experience, and here is a team that's looking to showcase what a great example could look like.
Exactly.
And so far it's been really fun.
And get us to use those tools, right? Get us to use sort of like the ability to, whether it's connecting with warm wallets, and then like sort of start to feel safe in the process of being able to contribute and play, because that's we talked about this, just like it's so scary right now, to connect your wallet to something. And so having these layers, like warm wallet, like having these security measures in there allows us to feel good about like being with our friends.
Yeah, and just the whole concept of delegating your wallet, right? Or just being able to do something like that has kind of opened up people's minds, on what's possible. And we saw that with, all of a sudden we got some esports team managers, that like started their own businesses coming from a lot of this.
The economies are coming. Like, we just saw just from that mini game.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine how this is going to translate, to the other side when it's like the real game. But like even just the mini game had its own economy that was growing. Like these gamers were getting paid and like some really nice money to, get scores for other people to get them in a certain position so that they could get slightly upgraded heavy metal.
And the ripples of that was really, really cool to kind of witness, right? Like the attention it got from the gaming industry, maybe the spark of curiosity that people had when they heard their favorite gamer or someone they've been watching on streams for so long is now participating in sewer passes, and Dookie Dash, and like what that is, and they know it's part of Bored Apes, etc. And so even now, like I get a lot of people who I've met through that experience of Dookie Dash, who are starting to ask a lot about the other side. and thinking of like, wait, so how do I get into the other side? Like, what about these deeds? Do I need these, etc.? There's so many like questions, but the point I'm trying to make is like the attention and the curiosity is now there, right? Like all of these things have an effect, even though they're separate projects, they do have an effect on each other, as a whole. And I think all the different projects that are happening within the space, it's anything, if we see success in those, then we're going to see success in many of these other projects because it's bringing more people into it to showcase like what value it can truly have,
A lot
and
of deeds.
how.
It's like it's 100,000 deeds at the moment, and it's planned to be another 100,000 on top of that, right? So 200,000 total.
They did say something about another 100,000 deeds like being rewarded to the builders, and I think that's kind of why it might be important to make sure you're collect not sorry you're getting these obelisk pieces that are on the backside of that deed, as a metadata trait. Yeah.
Oh, this one got the first trip. So they got
So
the
if you
That's
if
the
you
thing.
participated,
Yeah, you participated in the first trip. There was only 4,600. So that's a thing. So automatically already you're like, one of 4,600 if you have this first trip obelisk.
at first
200,000.
at first they did have a lot of people too that weren't, warm wallet wasn't implemented on the first trip.
Yeah.
So some people wanted to de-risk and just connect one of their deeds, and then not all their deeds got updated. So Yuga did promise that there would be another way to earn that first trip badge, and that is by participating in the second trip. And who knows, there might be another trip where you can still earn that, but the second trip, anyone who participated in the second trip that had other deed also got that first trip badge as well. Gotcha. So they were able to get that. And then if you were recently just kind of moving into like Legends of the Mara, if you claimed your vessel, then you got a new obelisk piece called Coda Origins. And so that's kind of what it seems that Legends of the Mara is embarking on, because Coda Origins and the decoupling is also an obelisk piece. So I think if there are going to be another 100,000, other deeds that are going to be rewarded to Voyagers, then maybe it has something to do with the people who are actually like participating and building. Just by participating, you're helping build the other side.
That's why it was brilliant to do a gamified mint, because not only are you, making it fun and cool and interesting, but you're also qualifying people who are going to be having the heaviest, the nicest assets. Those people are going to be gamers. They're going to be, invested, or they paid a gamer. Like, they're just going to be really invested in the space and willing to sit there and build and learn and be digital, or make their kids play the game. And so, like, just having these ways of incorporating, so you're qualifying a lot of people, and giving them the assets. And so, when you did Legends of the Mara, you ostensibly, just decoupled your coda from the land, or if you didn't have a coda, you were able to decouple one of these three elements: the enchanter, the farmer, or the hunter.
Yeah. On the top right, that vessel claim right there. So like, as long as you had another deed, you're able to claim a vessel, and it gave you one of these vessels. And so, wait, which ones did you get? Which ones did you get?
I got the hunter, and I was happy with that, because I think the hunter was described as the thing that's going to protect you against violent was it the violent attacks. And so that to me like triggered. I was like, oh crap, I got to worry about like people raiding me. Am I going to be able to raid somebody else? But like,
dude, the questions, right? Like these are the questions that melt our mind, because you're like, yo, what am I supposed to do with this thing? And like, what are they insinuating?
Lore, right? They're able to start to get across the lore. So that makes you ask those questions. You're like, okay, great. Are these good things? Are these bad things? Is a coda going to help me? Is a coda going to be a dick to me? I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I mean, we do know, like back in February, they teased Legends of the Mara out on the Twitter with that really cool black and red poster, and it said like Legends of the Mara, the Shattered Vessels, and it's going to be this 2D experience powered by ApeCoin. So we know ApeCoin is going to be a part of this somehow. So there might be a really great opportunity in order to benefit from playing this game correctly, right? And strategy seems to be coming into play.
Much
You
like
know,
with Dookie Dash, like you had to pay in order to get sort of buffs in a sense. I never
was utility, yeah.
I
There was
never paid. I
utility
just
for
kept
that
playing,
ApeCoin.
but I could tell that like a lot of people were paying a lot. I think it was I think I heard the for their first bid it was something like 800,000 ape had been spent in a matter of maybe a few days.
No,
Yeah,
you
and that
know,
is incredible usage.
any kind of like utility for ApeCoin, I'm all for. Like if I see that they're offering new ways to use ApeCoin, I'm for that. So it's really cool to see how it can be implemented. When it comes to this, we still don't know how it's all going to tie in. But that thing that's kind of coming up, that is what's going to meet with a vessel. So those are shades,
So shades are going to
and
be here.
yeah, and the shades essentially are going to uh tap into one of those vessels and inhabit one of those vessels, and your Mara will hatch. And from there, you're supposed to essentially nurture and grow that Mara um, to become a Coda Mara. And so, yeah, each of those Maras, based off of the vessel type, will have a certain ability. And that's what we're seeing right here, where the Enchanter will grant buffs and bonuses. The farmer will harvest fragments from other deeds, and the hunter, which you got, will fend off violent threats to other deeds.
And so that that puts into perspective of like, okay, great, these are the things that are going to happen, potentially on my other deed. And so, do I need all three? And
Yeah.
I think that there was a mention that a coda can basically be a rover and do any of these three jobs. So if you have a coda, you can apply them to these positions, which is
yeah.
really
I mean, you got to remember, for the other side, like the coda is like that's the grail for the other side. That's the native celestial being from the other side. And so we're finding out, like before it was like, what the fuck's a coda, right? We're starting to find out a lot more. And ultimately this is talking about coda origins. Like, hey, what is Amara? What is a coda Mara? What do these codas do? What's some of the utility? And now we got some information like, oh, a coda can do all three of these things, but only one at a time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get to kind of see that now. Could there be a certain play where you have enough vessels to equal the productivity of a coda? Potentially. I think that's what some people are speculating, trying to figure out.
Yep.
But codas are also playing a big role in this Legends of the Mara.
Coda is with
and
a
that's
K. We always doing in 10KTF, they always say like K is king or K is K.
oh yeah, you're right.
That's sort of like right. My 10KTF mind is starting to tingle, man. But yeah, I love your mind, because you go a step further, especially with the Odiac. And the Odiac is a celestial coordinate system that has been devised, breaking up into what seems like seasons: creation, evolution, life, and abyss. And you took the time to look at this and make the immediate connection to the Otherside map that has those longitudinal seeming lines as well.
Right.
To put together a theory that, based upon this rotation that we're seeing, it's going to create seasons.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about this being a celestial coordinate system, and clearly, even in 10 KTF, we see, you know, Wenmoon holding up like a star map. I think it was Wenmoon, but holding up like this piece that had like a star map on it. And you know, if you do overlay this on the other side map or atlas, the lines, and you see how there's like concentric circles, like there's that smaller circle, and then there's like a larger circle around that, and then a circle around that. It is actually slowly rotating. And I would imagine that seasons, especially as it relates to farming, right? Like in any farming, I don't have like personal experience with farming, but I would imagine that seasons are very important to strategize in your productivity, you know? And here we are with these seasons that are being introduced. And if you're looking at that Odiac, it seems that certain deeds will be in those circles at certain times. So you know, not every single deed is going to be in that small circle that's currently to the bottom left right now. So what does that mean? Like if your deed is in that circle, does that mean like your deed is in season? Is that going to be the best time to farm? Is that going to be the time where people are assigning Maras to your deed and you might need to defend it? There's all these questions and, you know, things that might come up that kind of relate to strategies that you might be able to you know engage with. So
I think I'm
I
just
think
noticing now that there's like been an upgrade in the map to where now you're seeing this these moving lights. I didn't notice this before. Like, do you see those? Or like comets?
yeah, it looks, I mean, the
Like the
graphics, they're doing it right as far as the graphics and all that. Even when you first load it, how it just like
it looks great, but I'm like, is this signaling what we saw on the second trip? The codas that were flying over, like, you know, it was just it was
yeah.
mysterious. It was like finders keepers. Like, what did you glean from that? Finders keepers. I didn't know what that meant.
Dude, I don't know, man. So you're talking about the second trip, right?
Yeah, and the second
Finders keepers.
after there was like this message of like finders keepers.
You know, one thing that I may have, first of all, these moving stars, like it's showing that it's also, even though the dots, the deeds itself is static, the stars kind of insinuate the movement that this is actually rotating,
It is
you
kind of
know?
rotating. It is actually rotating 360.
Um, and so same with the Odiac, and the Odiac's going to be rotating as well. And
Yep.
so the seasons are going to change. And those the characters. So I was referring more so to the circles that we're seeing, but those characters, those are constellations, and those will be like, apparently your Mara is going to acquire traits from those characters as you continue in Legends of the Mara. And that's kind of where it goes into that seasonal catalyst where it says when a Mara ingests a seasonal catalyst, it evolves into a Kodomara that takes on traits possessed by that catalyst. And so yeah, you know, season 1 is going to be starting up pretty soon, which is creation. And so maybe in season 1 during creation, there's certain things that we're focused on doing. And then when it gets to season 2, you know, then maybe we're focused on evolution, right? And then so forth. So we don't know what.
Clearly we die, and then we have the afterlife of season 3.
Yeah. But
Very
you know what?
ominous, right? I love this.
And then even Abyss, like going into Abyss, right? The thing that makes me think like this is going to continue to rotate and be persistent is in the second trip, you know how everyone was had like a different team, and in the middle of the game that where we were collecting blobs, there was that temple, that Coda temple, that Coda temple.
Yep.
In the Coda language or the Otherside language, if you were to translate that, each side said something different. And the community would have to like come back together afterwards, and they were posting screenshots, watching different Twitch streams just to see like, what did it say on this side? What did it say on this side? Like, we really have to come together as a community to decipher what that temple said. And I don't know the order of it, but it could have been something along the lines of from creation comes chaos, or is like one of the sides said from creation, another side said comes chaos, and then another side said from chaos, and then finally comes creation.
Mhm.
And so it makes me think about the seasons as well. Like, you know, this is going to be something that will be cyclical. Like, it's going to continue to cycle through. And now we have like this persistent way of understanding time as well as discovery of other deeds, because it almost highlights certain deeds that you may want to visit potentially. So,
Exactly. It'll
yeah,
have
these
like
seasonal
certain ways of playing during, different times. And I think that that's exciting to keep things fresh and moving and also relevant, to, because, that's the thing is like I'm making a play, like mine's like a volcano one. It's like, that's, sediment layer 3. It's like, it has these elements, but, maybe
Nice.
there's a season where finally that petrified wood, 3-star is going to be banging. Like, it's just like, yes,
Yeah,
I'm glad I
yeah,
got
for
that one.
real.
For,
You know what? And I might send my Mara over there to go get some of that, you know?
attack me, but I've been
Or
protected with my
or or I can be like, you know, on your side and be like, yo, you know, you got a bunch of Mara or whatever these parasites are. What, I don't even know what these are, but like,
the
yeah, like
shadows look
what
very ominous.
what is that? You know, but I think that's kind of what we might need to protect ourselves from, is this, you know, there's this infestation of, you know, things that are destructing the other side, and we might need those hunters like that you have to help us protect from that, because they could be eating up at your resources or your sediment, etc. So I
100%.
think that's kind of what
My
we're
Minty Fresh Vibe security team will be at the service of the other side. I'm just going to be collecting hunters while they're at the floor. I mean, everyone's flooring these guys. I'm just going to keep collecting hunters and
that
create a
could be a
security
move.
force in the other
That
side.
could be a move.
But then, so
But
these Mara are going to feed on sediments. I mean, we assume it's going to be for this entire season, and then they're going to come out on the other side of this as Maras. Yeah.
yeah. But these are getting evolved to Cotamaras. So, and we know that they're going to, the way they evolve, they can become corrupted. So I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean they become evil? I'm not sure. But even with the sediment, you know, there's different types of sediment, and I would imagine if I'm growing a Mara, I would probably want my Mara ingesting fragments from the biogenic swamp if I had to choose. You know,
I'm
so
just checking this theory because I think that's the thing is like, sometimes when you're looking at these deeds and you visually get, something that looks a bit different geographically because that looks different than, the previous thing. But if you look at the sediment layer, it is all biogenic swamp in and around the 00, which is the coordinate of the yacht club, apparently. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much biogenic swamp will be from 001 to, which I think is the clubhouse, all the way to 10,000. So, you know, that's essentially the Bored Ape Yacht Club collection, and this is like one of the ways they find, you know, clever ways to reward their holders. So that first inner kind of circle island, chances are that's going to be biogenic swamp.
Yep.
And when you start to overlay the Odiac and you see that circle, it's going to rotate over all of those deeds over the biogenic swamp. And so we might have, you know, yeah, that inner circle that's going to continue. It's, you don't see it right now, but it is slowly rotating it. If you check back on this website, that circle's going to be on the top right next time. But yeah, and I think that's kind of where there's this whole Legends of the Mara seems to be very strategy involved, right? Um, there's probably going to be an element of I get a lot of sense that people want to guild up, and help each other out because it may require that.
There's
So
so many elements. That's the thing. There's so many elements. There's so many
mhm.
artifacts. There's people, with quotas, without quotas, most, 90% without quotas. And so the idea of the community coming together, I think it has to be. It's like one of those things where you're just like, you're looking at the community aspects of what's available and what's present and what we've been seeing and the emphasis on community. It's like we're going to have to find ways to work together and, develop, guilds. And for me, again, like, I think it's almost easy for me to want to do that because, if I'm coming in with my community, or I'm coming in with other Macy's, or I'm coming in now with Deadheads or something like that. It's just like I'm gonna want to vibe with my community, and I feel like there's a layer of trust already there that I'm gonna want to like vibe with and create with immediately. So there's no like, oh gosh, this guild sucks or whatever. No,
Yeah,
hanging with Betty, like, yeah, this is gonna be amazing.
and figure shit out with, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what's dope about every Thursday with 10KTF is just like we all don't know what's happening together, so we get to figure that out.
We do. And I love that, and I love that about that community and how it's landing. And I think that there was that one element that I just kind of peeked at was the Gucci. I just wanted to talk about it very briefly because I know not everybody can get into it, and I know it's it seems like at this point it's sort of almost for me it's like a historic thing, like the idea of creating this codependent is a term, codependent, that Megan McDowell, Vogue, who from Vogue magazine, who covers the space, made that connection. I think maybe she had to have been. It was either her or Madeline, as you had mentioned, broke this.
Yeah.
Story.
Well, I think Vogue Business, there was a press release article from the Vogue Business website that was the first time I heard of, the Gucci signing a multi-year partnership with Yuga, and we will be seeing something with Gucci on the other side later that week. And I was like, oh, damn, that's crazy. And we were missing, the community was missing this particular letter, the letter U, in the Otherside language. And when I saw the bottle where it had the Gucci with this letter, I was like, oh damn, here's our U. We got our U. So it was cool to kind of see that announced. And it wasn't their first time partnering, right? Like, we've seen stuff with Gucci in the space with 10KTF, who's which is
I got my Gucci ape, I got my GG, my Gucci Grail.
Yeah, man. And so to see this GG, GG might be taking on a new meaning now that all these vessels and codas have it, and it's part of Legends of the Mara. It might be saying for Gucci Guild.
Gucci
so
Guild. That's gonna
yeah,
make
man.
FOMO.
But yeah, they were able to put that out, and I ended up getting one. Did you?
I did not. I was just like, I wanted one just to have the historical sort of aspect to it, because I love the changing the idea of something that's physical and like giving it a new name, calling it codependent, because I think that codependent in the physical and codependent in the metaverse, I think, is going to be
That's a cool wordplay.
It's the term moving forward, I think. Having things that are codependent, I just couldn't see how it was codependent. Much like we both actually have our 893
oh yeah,
Kigami's behind us.
Yeah,
that I feel like has an ability to be codependent, like in the story. Like it's showing us some weird stuff. It's not synced up right now, but like it'd be so cool if we were synced up together. But like it's showing elements of story, and it's also it also has given us an NFT as well. A persistent NFT. It's given
it's dynamic.
Yes, and so it's a dynamic, and it's gotten these these elements to it where I'm like, oh, this could play into an idea of physical codependency with something in the metaverse, or the story that I can understand. And with the chain, that threw me off, because I wasn't presented with oh, hey, this has some tech to it. This is just like a look, but I think your theory about what it does to the look in the metaverse is actually very, very key and very, very valid.
Yeah, the codependent, when I first heard it, I immediately thought how, like, I'm when I go into the other side, I'm going in as my ape avatar, right? I'm not necessarily planning on going in as my Coda or my Mara. And so I think about the Coda and the Mara as being like a partner, like a sidekick almost. And so one of the reasons why I also decided to get that codependent and update the metadata on my brand new Coda that I just got, which I'm super stoked about.
Congrats.
Um, but was some of the other side benefits that it would have, like a couple things they just teased out was that it will have some cosmetic options available for the in the other side with the 3D avatar coming this summer, where you'll have a trail visual effects for your Coda or your Mara. So I think that would look really cool and stand out in the other side, as well as a branded chat handle. And I think things like that, going back to us finding each other in the other side, um, being able to coordinate and kind of have these things that help you stand out amongst the crowd could actually be a really great social utility. Being able to find people that you're connected to or that's on the same team or leading a particular mission.
Speaking
What?
of relics, though, like I just noticed it was called an Otherside relic.
Oh yeah,
We know the relic as sort of the helmet that's been awarded today to those that
yeah.
be one of the four that won during
Team Glacia.
Team Glacia, and they got like the helmet, and it's part of the relics collection. I didn't realize that this was
Yeah.
also a relic. Interesting.
Yeah, this is like Other Side Relics by Gucci. And you're right, like the helmets were airdropped. And in the Other Side Relics about, it says the Other Side Relics collection consists of rewards for achievements and limited edition curios that commemorate legendary moments in the Other Side saga. Some of the items in this collection will be designed in collaboration with select partners, such as Gucci.
There you go.
So,
Did you get an NFT as well, like any sort of digital asset?
for the Gucci Other
Yeah.
Side relic, no, it was a permanent metadata upgrade.
Yep.
And so this was like a lot of people were kind of like on the fence about doing this because they're like, shit, I don't really know if I want a permanent visual upgrade, like in being a walking billboard of Gucci, Um, but it is a Coda bottle.
It's
It
a
does
Coda
say
bottle, though, so it's
GG.
not like a GG on it or something. It's a Coda bottle. It's
But
like part of
if
the lore.
that's how you show up, and then you're also using it as your IP, and you don't have commercial use rights for that particular trait, it gets a little more complex. But at the same time, these are dynamic NFTs, and I think we're starting to really uncover like what the potential is. And at the end of the day, like these are in the gaming category in terms of these NFT collections. And so they're parts of a game too, and I would imagine that we'll be able to unequip it, equip it, maybe later down the road be able to customize wearables, etc. for our avatars, etc. And yeah, these other side relics, I think is this the helmets, the the blue helmets that the winged helmets, um that's the first one, and just from a provenance standpoint that could be a really cool collectible. So congrats to everyone who got airdropped one, or if their guest got airdropped one, because some people gave a guest pass and their guest got lucky and was on Team Glacia. So
Suddenly they get a helmet airdrop to their wallet. Super rad.
yeah.
how is it? We keep talking about this being a game, this being, these different ways to play it, and there's so many different, like, entry points of how to play it. Personally speaking, how are you playing it?
What do you, like as far as my
Like, what's your
mindset, my
strategy? Yeah, so what your strategy? So it sounds like you've gotten some other side deeds, and you decided to break out your coda, and so now you've broken out your coda, you've upgraded your coda, it's changed its metadata, and so as it advances, I guess you want to try and now grow your Mara to
yeah, dude. Yeah, there's so many things that are happening that like I'm still figuring out like how to the way I'm playing it right now is I'm in the conversation. That's the way I'm playing. I'm trying to be in the conversation so I can best understand what's going to be the move for myself when this stuff starts revealing the mechanics of the game of Legends of the Mara. Um, and being able to build and connect with people in the community has proven to be the most beneficial thing that I could have done
100%.
For participating in this. And that comes in the form of so many different things, but just to name a few is like I get my imagination, it like there's so many sparks based off of people writing threads, people sharing a theory, people asking a question, people pointing something out. Like when you're saying, like, oh, these stars are kind of moving. It's like, there's so many people that may not like there all this information is coming at everyone so quickly that we don't know what to pay attention to. And so the way I'm playing it is I'm tapping and leaning into the fact that, you know, with Other Space FM, every single week we're coming together. If something's going on, like there's some sort of event, coda decoupling, let's figure out how we can create a space so we can work this stuff out together. Because it's not like myself or Baron von Hustle that has all of the alpha and information. That's not how it works. Really, we just want to create a safe space for anyone who's enthusiastic, who's ambitious around building in the other side, who has some ideas, who's curious about it,
It's
to be able to come together.
It's like that. It's exactly that. Like I was a bit intimidated coming into that space my first time, because I'm just like, oh, I've been so siloed and I've been working on my own theories about the other side for so long, and then I come into this space and you feel completely at home. You guys have created an amazing environment, and it was just like I was able to like jump up there and like share, and then like all this somebody else is vibing like, oh yeah, I'm doing it like this too, and this is what I'm doing. Oh God, that's amazing. And so like that idea of the communal experience of it, you're leading it, and you and Baron von Hustle, and I thank you guys for doing it, because if not, I'd be so lost right now without Other Space FM. I'd be so lost. But it does provide that communal space every Thursday 11 a.m. PST to connect with and catch up with. But also I love that you guys were present during the second trip, because it sort of was just like oh gosh, I'm am I doing it right, am I in, and I'm queuing, oh everybody else is queuing too, okay, you guys might be amazing
doing the pregame, hop into the pregame space, make sure everyone's good, you need a guest pass over here. It was really cool to kind of do that. And then afterwards, kind of like being able to reflect, being able to share what we experienced. Not everyone had the same experience, even though many of us kind of attempted to sign in to the same singular experience. Everyone had their own unique one as well.
Yeah, everyone had
so it it's stuff like that where it's like at least one thing that I'm able to control along with Baron is we're signing up to just create a space for the conversation and do our best to help facilitate the conversation in a positive way.
One of my favorite aspects to the community that's being built and generated around Otherside, and it's something that I'm so thankful that you spent the time with us to sort of give us an overview and catch us up, to sort of give us sort of the macros so that we can catch up and really, guys,
Oh, yeah, it was fun,
join
man.
in every Thursday, Other Space FM. And it really is just taking that alpha, everyone bringing it together. Oh, you saw the stars move? Okay, that lines up with, my thing of the thing. And it really helps to give
Yeah.
context and understanding, as you said, to develop your play for the space, because the play, it's clear there's gonna be businesses, there's gonna be so much economy around this, the use of
Yeah.
ApeCoin, the just what we saw in sort of the mini games of how people were leveraging, and managers were brought in to represent gamers.
Yeah.
All these sort of
The
economies.
importance of ownership, the importance of IP, and how that plays into this. I mean,
Exactly.
you're right. A lot of this stuff could essentially has the potential to form businesses or form ways that you can sustain off of having fun.
Before you floor that 1 star with like 2-star petrified wood, listen in so you don't make that mistake, because you don't know exactly what you have yet.
Oh.
This is the beauty of the space. And again, Nana, I thank you so much for your time, man. You've been so gracious about it, and you are on your show such a great host in providing exactly that, a safe environment. So thank you for providing that for us.
Minty fresh. It's been a pleasure hopping on here, but also I get really excited to just watch your shows as well. So continue to keep doing what you're doing, and I love your mindset when it comes to this, and just being a great steward in the space. The conversations that you're having with people in the community have been really, really fulfilling. So
it's a mutual admiration, my friend. And again, I hope that these conversations are part of a larger conversation. This is the first, hopefully, of many, because there's going to be a lot of stuff happening, and would love to get your insights in those key times, because we're going to need them.
Hey, vice versa, man. Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Nana. Be well.
All right.